GNT Show is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised. These are the voyages of the GNT Show. Our continuing mission to explore Star Trek storytelling, to seek out new worlds and interesting characters, to bold we got where no show has gone before. Live long and prosper, bitches.
I loves her.
I don't hear anything.
You will. You will.
I get it. Okay. Okay.
We are in the final 3 hours of this amazing Odyssey.
It's been so much fun. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the
It's-
GNT Show, episode 212. I'm Terry Lynn. To my left, your right is Gettysburg 7. Take it away,
Joel
Nick.
on True Bitches, we have been going for 22 hours at this point. And if you haven't been here, bite me.
To your left, my right?
To my right, your left.
Okay. Is sorry. What's he wearing?
Kapla.
Sorry, what are you wearing?
At this point,
T-shirt.
he's not wearing anything but socks.
And he's
And
using
compression socks at that.
compression socks and many hotel towels.
We also have with us the lovely, the talented Jesfa.
Good morning, Vietnam!
We also have with us, I'm going to say it, he's been kicking ass.
He's been
Steve.
kicking ass. Steve Midnight,
Hell yeah.
thank you so very much. Amazing,
Hello.
really fun sound, and you've just been an absolute trooper through all of this, and we can't thank
And
all of you
literally,
enough.
Steve
really.
has been up like 56 hours.
50
at this
some odd
point.
hours. It's just been nuts, and how he's even functioning. I really don't. I really think he's Data, and that's just the Times Arrow Data. I'm just telling you.
Also
He's
with us
Vulcan. He can-
in the studio as we head towards the home stretch of this marathon, the lovely, the talented Janice.
Hello.
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 That was a Mrs. Doubtfire moment.
It
Hello, Muppets. Oh, wait.
Hello.
Oh my God. Okay,
Oh,
you guys.
boy.
Welcome to
Crazy.
Punchy.
If you're a normal listener that don't know what's going on because you're downloading this episode, we've been up for 22 hours straight doing our fundraiser.
And
Normal listeners?
Yeah, normal listeners.
Shh.
That's going to be one hell of a download.
Yeah,
No, it's going to be broken up.
it's totally going to be broken up, but still, it's 20.
It's a bite-sized pieces, like the candy I've been eating.
Which has just been. Oh my God, really?
It's
You've
fun
been-
size.
Oh my God.
Is that
I'm-
brave?
I don't know. I don't think so.
See, Mikey hasn't told you guys this, but during the breaks, he's been running down the hotel corridors, knocking on the doors, and saying trick or treat.
Somebody like owes me like $10,000 for like streaking across the street or something. I don't know. Isn't that the meme that's floating around Facebook?
We have had, let's run down who's been on the show. Paula Block and Terry Erdman, Dayton Ward, Jen Ucelis, Kipley Brown, James Kerwin, James
Brandon
Swallow,
Phelpser,
Kirsten
you
Beyer. Who?
Brandon Phelpser.
Brandon
Yeah,
Phelpser.
Brand Flakes.
Yep.
He started off the show with
Women at
Club
War.
602.
Club 602.
Evie Vincent.
Evie Vincent.
Women at Warp.
Yep.
James and Kipley. Adrian.
Priority
yes.
One
Adrian
podcast.
Grady. Priority One
Priority
podcast.
One.
Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek.
That's right.
Yes.
And with us, the lovely, the talented David.
He's got pretty
Help you
hair.
out.
Yes.
David.
And also with us, the lovely, well, I'm not going to, Sunset.
Sunsail. Hello, sweetie. It's so good that
See,
you
now
guys.
she's
and
going to
thanks
turn
for-
on that voice.
I
Now
know.
she's going to turn on
Now
that
she's
voice.
going to turn it on. That's all right. That's all right. This is when it's most important, right, Sunsail?
Home stretch.
That's right.
To get you to the end.
Also, the head geek, Terrace Cassidy, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
That's right. Terrace was with us. Larry Nemechek hosted Jeopardy.
It was so much fun.
It was a
It's
train
been
wreck.
It was a train wreck, but it was so much fun.
Oh, after the authors, there was the surprise guest, right?
Well, the surprise guest with James Swallow, who
Yes.
just
the
appeared in our.
Swallowmeister.
This,
Yeah.
I am not repeating that name.
Swallowmeister.
I'm so not. The Duke chip. The Duke.
The Duke
Duke.
of Swallow.
The Duke of Swallow.
Duke of
Duke
Swallow.
of
Duke of
Duke of
Swallow.
Earl.
Duke.
Okay. But he showed up and surprised us, and we got to talk about Titan. We got to talk about scary things, and pretty much scary things. We really got to talk to him about scary crap.
Have we left anybody out? Have we left anybody out?
Forgive us if we have.
No,
Kirsten
I think we
Beyer?
talked about
We said her.
too. We said Priority One. They got all the wonderful Kenna and Mark and Winters from
Yeah.
Priority One podcast. They were with us
Did
for
you say
quite
Thomas
a while.
the Cat?
Thomas the Cat was with us.
Nick
Al Rivera.
Taco, Al Rivera.
Taco fan.
Ben Ucelis?
We said her. I
We
said
said
her
her.
early.
It's okay. We said her.
Now,
Yes.
for the first time during this episode, do we have a total?
Our total is $1,260.17.
Wow.
Yay!
Nick,
Yes.
you need a shot.
And
Sweet.
courtesy of who?
Courtesy of Mr. Robert Reyes.
Oh.
And that means
Thank you.
Well, we don't know
someone
yet.
takes the lead.
Yes, Robert
Nice.
takes the
Clearly.
lead.
Someone takes the lead for our
Sweet.
grand prize.
For our grand prize, our wonderful commander level seat at the next Star Trek Las Vegas convention, August 3rd through 7th, 5 whole days at the fabulous Rio Hotel and Casino.
And the lead right now is $200 worth of donation from that person.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Although we'll see. We'll see.
Yes.
We'll have to wait till the end.
Well, we
I'm
need to
not
let people
saying.
know what their target. Well, no, Mike, we got to let people know their target
There's
Well-
3 hours left.
if they want to beat it.
Oh, I guess that is true.
Yeah.
Yes, the target is $200 right now.
There you go.
So if you want the ticket, you gotta outdo
And-
that.
You have
And
to
what
do
was
that.
the value of that ticket?
It's like $699.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
$700 ticket. I mean,
It's a beefy. It's a chunky prize. It's like something like that. It's at least $500, maybe $600. I think $600 or $700, something like that. I
Well,
don't
if
remember
you want to
because
top,
they sold out.
well, if you want to top the current leader and make Nick take another shot, and you go up to 300, that's still a great bargain off of that.
Yeah.
The original
Very
price.
true.
True, that's true.
Or if you wanted to go and you forgot to get your ticket, you know what? I think this is your last opportunity.
Well,
That's a good point.
if you want a good seat. And
Yeah.
this is a prime seat. I mean, your row seat, you're looking at people sweating. They might even sweat on you. And if they get really excited, they'll be spit flying. I mean, you're that close.
Ew.
What do you think this is, Gallagher? What the hell?
Well, Martok and Gowron when they get up on stage.
That's a good point.
Ew, yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen them.
Or if
it's not-
Harlan
it's-
Ellison's there,
it's-
him.
Oh my god, it's
Spitting
not so
venom.
much the sweat. It's really not.
And there's a lawsuit.
There's not.
And that seat is available through the entire convention, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That is the reserve.
And it's a whole
seat.
extra day this year.
That's right.
That's
5 whole
true.
days. 5 whole days. It's crazy. It starts on Tuesday this year, I believe it's August 3rd of 2016, and goes all the way through the 7th of August, which is a Sunday. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I'm just going to say
Sunday.
this. Earlier in the show, when we had Priority 1 on and we had our heated
starts on Wednesday,
discussion
yeah.
about Klingon honor, I'm glad Jen Ucelis wasn't here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, she would have buried us.
She would have killed me.
Yeah, she would have
gutted
killed
me
you,
like a
buried
fish
me.
she wasn't even interested in eating.
Oh my god. Okay. Let's we had some things we were going to discuss before we got into like the regular portions of our show. So
This is not going to be a regular show.
no, well, it's kind of.
I have links that I haven't shared with anybody.
That's
kinda
right.
be.
It kind of is. But we were going to talk about books, yeah, right? Was that what you wanted to do, Steve?
A book club, yes.
By the way, people, 364 days till Halloween.
Countdown.
And
Start
for
shopping now.
all of my friends here in the Southwest United States, may you have a blessed Dia de los Muertos. So
Don't be talking that pig Latin.
yeah, no, it's
Oh,
a very
boy.
special. It's a very special. It's kind of a feast day here. It's a feast day, and around here, it is. Most people mistakenly call it Mexican Halloween, which it's not. It's actually a very religious holiday. So, Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, is when you celebrate the life of those who have passed before you. So, it's actually quite a beautiful holiday around here. So there you go. I just killed you all. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just thinking that aren't there some
Really?
Latino cultures that actually split it into 2 days because the first day
It's like
is
3 days long.
infants.
Yeah.
And
There's.
the-
Bye Bye
second
Robot
is,
was on with us. We forgot Bye Robot.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah,
You're right,
that was
son.
pretty cool.
It
Our
depends
apologies.
on specifically what area and what locale and geographical location. But here it's All Souls Day, All Saints Day. They fall back to back. And All Souls Day and All Saints Day put together Dia de los Muertos, which is usually All Souls Day, which is today. And they're both considered days of obligation, holy days of obligation. So you have to go to Mass, you have to go to church, and then you usually go to the cemetery where your ancestors are buried, and you offer them sacrifices to their spirits. So it's and also try to scare the evil ones away. It's a mixed, you know how it is. Religious holidays kind of mix pagan and faith of
It's
whatever.
like Christmas.
It's kind of like that. But in a very soulful, respectful kind of way, and it's just really beautiful. And again, because here it's mixed again with a lot of indigenous cultures. So there's a lot of Native Americans that may not necessarily be Catholic, but they still have pieces of Dia de los Muertos in their own Native culture. So lots of feast days, lots of Indian art and crafts fairs or services today and tomorrow.
When's the pepper smell?
Oh,
the
it just
chili
ended.
smell?
It just
Oh, did
ended.
it?
Yeah, everybody's chilies are in the freezer now, and if they're not, then they're drying up. They're out hanging out to dry. So everybody has new ristras for the year. All the red chilies are hanging out and drying, so you can use them during the winter. So there you go. Harvest was a little early this year. Harvest started the week after we got back from Vegas. It was really early. So
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of sad. I was sad that you guys missed it because it smells so good. So yeah, let's. No, we were going to talk about books. Was that what the plan was, my kids?
Book
Yeah,
club,
'cause
yes.
the mini
Cool.
book club.
They're also enthusiastic.
I know, Steve. You've
Yes,
got this.
because we've
You've got
been
the
up for
reins,
10
babe.
minutes.
Go for it.
Well, it's been a while since we've had a book club, so I'm going to do it slightly differently this time. We're just going to talk about what books we've been reading recently and what we thought about them.
That's easy.
Yeah, well, I thought that would be a lot easier than all of us trying to read the same book, because it seems that never happens these days because we've all been so busy.
And we all have different interests too. I mean,
Exactly. Well, currently, I'm not actually reading a Star Trek book.
What the hell?
I know. After nearly 3 years of only reading Star Trek novels, I've actually taken a break to read something a little bit different, though it's still sci-fi. So I've been reading the Stargate Atlantis Legacy series.
Oh, that's right. You said you were a couple of books into that.
I'm actually on book 5 of 7.
Wow.
And I'm about 57% of the way through book 5 at the moment. And it's actually really good. It continues where the TV show Stargate Atlantis actually finished.
Cool.
So book 1 was sort of quite political about what happened with, Atlantis, the base. And as it sort of starts putting together all the storylines. But yeah, it's actually been really good. So I've literally just been going straight on to the next book as soon as it finishes, and it's literally as if it's one huge story. It just sort of flows nicely into it, and you've got all the old characters as well from Stargate SG-1. Nothing from, of course, Stargate Universe. But yeah, you've also got new characters as well, and it sort of, as the books tend to do, it sort of pads out a lot of their sort of histories and everything else like that. So we learn more about John Shepard and his history, which, as well as Ronan and things like that. And it's been really enjoyable. But the last Star Trek that I read was actually one of Dayton Ward's. It was Armageddon's Arrow.
Oh, yeah.
The TNG book. So before I started doing the Stargate Atlantis books, that was the last Trek book that I read, which I thoroughly enjoyed that one. Now, you've read this, haven't you, Terry?
Yeah, I've gotten through most of it. I have to say I haven't seen the end of it yet. Namely because you know how I am. I get through half a book and then the Titan book rolls around and it's like my brain just kind of goes, oh, but there's a Titan book. There's a Titan book. So, but I am a little more than halfway. I'd say probably more like 2/3 of the way done with the book. And I have to say I was I was a little bit surprised by the idea of where this kind of ship derived from. So I was, there's always that touchstone to when somebody touchstones to an original series episode, and one I have to admit it was also touched again in one of the previous novels as well.
Touch me.
Yeah. Touch me. I was a little surprised by it because nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Boom.
No, just saying.
Boom.
But I really am enjoying it very, very much. And again, what I'm liking about Armageddon's Arrow the most is seeing the further development of the relationships between the crew members on the Enterprise.
Well,
because
go on.
No, I was going to say because it's always interesting to see where Chen ends up. You know, she's such an interesting character.
Yeah,
She is.
Is what I liked about it is it was the first book for quite a while which is going back into exploration, because
Right.
a lot of the books beforehand, although I've enjoyed them, sort of it's been about the politics of the Federation and sort of other species, and
Yeah.
I have enjoyed it, but I did enjoy going back to sort of a sort of true Trek sort of episode where it's you're going out somewhere new alien species, just completely unknown, and it was just nice and refreshing for a change.
It really was, and also to get what was or what is probably one of the more original Prime Directive pickles that I've
Yeah.
read in a very long time, where it wasn't forced. It didn't feel very forced.
Well, it wasn't just the only directive as well that came into play, was it?
No. So, yeah, but we're not going to talk about that because other people have to read the book because it's actually very, very good. Again, that's Star Trek: The Next Generation Armageddon Arrow by Dayton Ward.
Well, and actually, I just started this book. I mean, like literally just cracked it, like maybe yesterday.
Really?
So I'm still in the first chapter, still in the, and I've was already liking it. So I'm definitely interested and
Yeah.
gonna have a fun ride with it.
You really are. That's a good way of putting it. Fun ride. Just put your seatbelt on first. Okay. Just
Oh, you want me to say
Sure.
say stuff? Okay.
say stuff.
Yeah, speak. All right. So I'm in graduate school, so the stuff I read tends to be for school. So unfortunately.
Textbooks.
Yeah, textbooks. I'm reading, or rather, actually, I'm done with it. Strategic Planning for Public Relations. Very exciting. By the way, if anything kills the 4.0, it's going to be this semester, and that fucking book. But for fun, I am reading David McCulloch has a biography of John Adams.
Oh, it's a great book.
Nice.
Yeah, man, he's an interesting guy.
Yes.
God, he sort of seems like the first nerd.
Well, and then what you want to do, and if you don't have it, I've got it. HBO did a miniseries based on it with Paul
Okay.
Giamatti playing John Adams.
Oh, that's perfect. Who played Abigail? Do you know?
Yes.
IMDb to the rescue.
I can see her face. It's like,
Paul says it's Laura Linney.
yes,
Thank
Laura
you,
Linney.
thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you, Paul.
You know,
Paul had some sleep.
I
No shit.
love their marriage. I love their marriage is
Yes.
very contemporary.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they do write in very, in sort of somewhat flowery kind of colonial language, but they definitely speak to each other in a way that is not this sort of master and servant and I defer to you all the ways and stuff like that. I mean, he left her alone in
Yeah.
Braintree a lot.
Yeah.
And they had a bunch of kids too, and she had to deal with the farm, and she sort of probably didn't really know how to do that to start. And so she kind of grew up and taught herself how to do all this and handle the finances and everything.
Yeah, and the miniseries does a great job of showing that.
That she never, she was never trained for that, and that she absolutely came through. And she is his biggest confidant, his best friend, easily. She is his advisor. They are a partnership. You can't think of them separately from each other. And in the first part of the book,
Exceptionally progressive for the time.
Very.
unbelievably. I mean, most of the early presidents, it was either that they were sort of distant, or that, like Dolly Madison, who was just basically a hostess, and not that she was dumb, but that her role was a social one, whereas Abigail Adams' role is not really a social one. Her role is to be the sounding board.
Cool.
You when you're done with that, you want to read. The same author did an amazing book on Harry Truman.
Oh.
Do you know
Wonderful.
Paul Fussell? Have you read him?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe we'll do a trade. Those are books on either the First or the Second World War, and like the First World War one is called The Great War and Modern Memory, and I read that in college, and I ended up buying it because I thought it was just such a great book, talking a lot about how the culture of Europe changed so radically from before the First World War to after it. I mean, there were regiments at the very beginning of the First World War that were cavalry, and then of course they got shot with with guns, and somebody said, "Oh my God, this is bullshit. We have to stop this. This is crazy," and and how they fought the war. I mean, because as I'm sure you're abundantly aware, generals are always fighting the last war.
Yeah.
So they're using the trench warfare and whatnot, which was pretty damn effective in the Civil War and before that. But you get to the First World War, and it turns into this enormous stalemate, and they're there for years, and it's dirty and horrible conditions, and so many of them died from disease and never saw a shot at all.
Another a great book if you're interested in not only the history of the country but also a great biography. David Eisenhower, Dwight Eisenhower's son, wrote a book called Agent of Destiny, and it's about Winfield Scott.
Huh.
And it is I couldn't put it down. It's amazing. From the War of 1812 through the Civil War, this guy was a general, and it's an amazing book.
We need to trade books sometimes, just sort of borrow each other's a few times. I think we'd both benefit from that.
That's what I'm do that one of the times Nick's near you.
If I knew, I'd have brought it down. Yeah. I would have brought it up now. I'll be back up at Christmas.
Okay.
Now, Janice, what are you reading?
Well, I just started reading Star Trek Seekers 4, so I can't really talk about it because I'm digesting it right now. But all I have to say is, Dayton, thank you. And I had recently finished Think Like a Freak, which is written by the gentleman that put on the podcast Freakonomics and has written the book Super Freakonomics, which are totally amazing. All those unintended consequences of various decisions and the economies of things. And so I absolutely love that group and what they put out there. It makes economics fun, which is really a boring topic if you ever had to take it in school. I don't understand why people study that. I really don't. But
I say the same thing about law.
Believe me.
No, law is fun. But in Think Like a Freak, what they're doing is sharing their knowledge bases of assisting people or helping people that are really willing to learn and listen, a different way of problem solving and doing critical thinking. And it's actually about time that we have books like that out in the world.
I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh because only on our show would memes about Andrew Jackson and be flying right now through the chat room. Andrew Jackson's bodyguards there to protect you from Andrew Jackson.
He was the Chuck Norris of his day.
He really was.
I don't always duel, but when I do, I make sure the bullets get safely lodged right in the chest of
in my chest.
In my chest of the other guy.
I am currently reading a book. I've been binge reading it's called the Badge of Honor series by W.E.B. Griffith, and it's about the Philadelphia Police Department, and it's a crime, obviously, about and so then there's the thing, and now I'm on book 9 of the 10-book series. I just started it this morning, called The Traffickers. I read the book 8 before that, Final Justice, which was interesting because books 1 through 7 all take place in the 70s, and then book 8 kind of rebooted it into the late into the post 9/11 era.
Oh, neat.
But with the same characters for the most part. So it was like a really weird juxtaposition. So you go from the 70s to where, they have to find a payphone or do this or do that, to now they're carrying cell phones and it's the same characters. But it's still a really fun series, and I'm really, really enjoying it. And I also recently read Felicia Day's book, You're Never Weird on the Internet, Mostly.
Mostly.
How is that?
Oh, I read it in a day. She is so amazing. I love Felicia Day.
Oh,
and to know that she suffers from anxiety, like I do, and actually more profound, is just an amazing thing.
Well, I just finished reading, of course, the most recent Titan book, which is Star Trek Titan Sight Unseen, by the Duke Ship himself, James Swallow, who we just got to speak to earlier this evening, or this morning. Really, it was this morning.
Last week,
whatever it was, 400 and whatever days ago. And I have to. There's every time I think, oh gee, somebody really gets Riker and the Titan crew, and they do them really well. And I have to say, John Jackson Miller did an outstanding job. And this is nothing to slight John Jackson Miller in the least, but holy crap, James Swallow totally gets Riker. Every time I think he can't outdo Synthesis and how he comes around and he just does this. Star Trek Titan, Sight Unseen, actually kind of allows, they find a way to get the Titan kind of back into sector space around kind of closer to home kind of thing. Because Titan, Riker's a flag officer now, right? He's
flag.
Flag officer, correct. He is now he's a
Wow, Nick.
flag officer. And he has planted that flag on the Titan, and it has a new captain. So
It better be.
don't want to say shit.
If it's not, I'm not going to read it.
Do you want me to make you read it or not?
I'm not going to read it if it's not.
It is.
Okay.
It is, and it's a very, very cool little sequence where
it was
she
deserved.
gets the pip.
That's
it
why
was totally. Well, she was a little afraid, considering what happened in the fall, or was it the fall with Bashir? Right, her handling of the Bashir situation. She was a little worried that it would never happen, and the ceremony or I shouldn't even call it a ceremony. It was like the whirlwind moment when she gets the pip is very cool. So yes, Christine Vale becomes the new captain of the USS Titan, but it's her first officer that throws everybody for a loop, and I won't tell you who that is.
Please tell me it's white blue.
No, wouldn't that be great? He's still kind of regenerating. He's quite not himself yet.
Oh, okay.
He's still in the holodeck, and turgid.
Turgid? He's still turgid?
He's still
Oh boy,
What's
it
his
started.
name? What's his name?
The slide has
What's his
started.
name? Who's the Choblik? Torvig. Torvig. No.
Yes,
Is it Torvig?
T-O-R-V-I-G.
Oh, Torvig. V-I-G. Thank you. Turgid.
Turgid the Kobolik. Very hard to get along with.
He's working with him. He's working with White Blue in the holodeck, trying to kind of get him back to the way he was. But I think he's beginning to realize that may never happen. However, this whole thing, so while the Enterprise gets to go back out to explore, Riker is now kind of brought back into the home area, and he has to report to Admiral Akar. And
I'm so glad Admiral Akar is still in this.
He is. He's still in. He's kind of cranky
He's
now.
so cool.
He's cool.
Well, he's tired. He's as tired as we are.
And he's cranky. And Riker's issue with what happened in Takedown.
Oh yeah.
Didn't really help matters.
It's a fucked up book.
So Riker's kind of being told you really suck at diplomacy, which Akar pretty much tells him to his pretty much tells him to his face.
Talk like a pirate day. It's Admiral Akar.
Pretty much tells him to his face, dude, you kind of suck at diplomacy, which he knows, but didn't really want to hear. And so he's now kind of getting the crap assignments until shit blows over from what happened in Takedown. And if you haven't read Takedown, I'm not telling you what happens in Takedown, but oh shit. So they're out, and as they go out to reconnect with a certain species that they are trying to make a member of the Federation, there had already been a ship which was staffed by one Captain Minechi, one Chief of Engineering or Chief Medeiros, and one Dr. Shull.
God.
It's the USS White Tree, which totally has got him. I forgot to ask him. It had to be a Lord of the Rings reference because that would just make me so happy. And a big-ass portal opens up next to this planet.
Keiko?
Yeah, she sucks us dry. Like,
I don't think she would.
I don't think so either. She'd spit us back out. And so
she's definitely a spitter.
So the ship, the White Tree that we are on, gets kind of sucked into this portal, and we're MIA for pretty much most of the book. And
I do have one question, though. Where's the communications officer, Janet?
What?
That would be awesome,
wouldn't it? Yeah, I don't know. It was
and the guy cleaning the plasma tubes, Steve.
Well, there was also a Captain Christopher Jones, right, from Trek FM. He was in charge of. He was the chief or the commanding officer of the USS Tokyo, which I thought was perfect because that's kind of where he lived. And but either way, we go MIA right at the beginning of the book, and I won't tell you. I mean, all we know is James has already expressed it. I do survive. Yeah.
It's because you have your own personal flotation device.
Huh?
Well,
Oh.
were you the portal when you get sucked in? Did it involve like red matter, and then you're pulled
No.
into another? Oh,
No. But if anybody recalls a certain episode of TNG with portals that opened up and people would disappear through them, and then they would reappear, and then they would disappear, and then they would reappear. This was just a just a really, really big portal, and it pretty much. So there, yes, it is the Return of the Solanae, and it's a scary as hell book. It's creepy, 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 and James Swallow finds that one thread of absolute terror that Riker feels because of how he and others, especially one of his crew members, was also one of the women who was one of the victims of the Solanae in Schisms. That the two of them really have some severe PTSD issues when they start dealing with this again, but they have to find a way to overcome them because there's a lot of missing crew members. So it's a spectacular, a really spectacular book. What's really great
Uterus.
Uterus. I thought this was really cool because I just saw over at trekfm.com a review, or Trek Newsnet, a review that was written by Dan Levitt over at treknews.net, and his verdict on the book was, this is the best Trek novel I've read in a long time. I'm a little biased because I love the episode Schisms, and I've always wanted to know more about the clickety-clackers. I think Swallow carried the torch better than anyone could have hoped for.
Question.
So there we go.
Did anybody know that they're shooting Red Dwarf again?
Sweet.
Yes,
Nice.
actually.
Today is the
They've,
first day of shooting.
Nice.
Yeah, they're actually shooting a couple of more seasons.
Nice. Oh, I love that
Wow.
show. Very cool. Which means now I have to go buy some more.
And of course, they're shooting it with the original cast.
Nice.
No, I was just reading what Steve wrote, and I'm trying to read it, and it's taking me like four
It's
times
okay.
through to read it.
Well, I'll finish this off by saying that Mr. Levitt finished off his review, and I agree with it. And that was Captain Picard once predicted that a ship under Riker's command would be, quote, vibrant with his style and vision, unquote. James Swallow has made that prediction a reality, and we can't see where he takes us next. So
I want to read this out loud.
it's so fun.
I just think it a way to get people who cannot listen live a chance and incentive to donate. Am I reading that wrong?
that sounds
Where
like
is this?
In our chat on the
Steve, you're
Team
tired.
speak chat.
yeah, Steve's
He's
actually
finally
coming
tired.
down to humanity at this
I
point.
think you're finally ready to pass out, sweetheart.
It just teaches me not to be looking at what tweets are coming in while typing and not looking at what.
Excuses.
Uh-huh.
He just doesn't want us to know that he's mortal.
Sleep
Seriously.
deprived.
Yeah.
Multitasking disappears.
I told you, he's a robot with feelings.
Oh, it's true.
Lies.
Lies.
They're British feelings, but they're still feelings.
No, they're not. Stiff upper lip, cheerio, and all that chop chop.
Pip pip.
Well,
Jim Jiminy, Jim
I
Jiminy,
read
Jim
some
Jim
books.
Cherry.
you what, Mike?
He's
I've
actually
read some
dancing,
books.
guys.
I know. I want to hear.
Let's see. Starting with Enterprise, I read the Romulan War series recently, which it's a two-part story that encompasses the entire war. And
What? Only two books?
It's only 2 books, and I thought it was really well done. It's very high paced. There's a lot going on. So we're basically we're part of the time we're on the Enterprise or the NX, but Trip is off doing his own thing, and they've got.
Is that the one? Is that the series, Mike? I'm trying to remember where. What's his name? Helms Travis leaves.
Yes, he does
Okay.
leave the Enterprise, and he becomes actually he gets shuffled around quite a bit because
But he
wherever
gets pissed. He gets pissed
no.
at Archer.
Yes, he does get pissed, but wherever he ends up landing, the ship gets blown out from underneath him, and he ends up having to be on a new assignment.
Yeah, he's bad luck. People look at him as bad
Almost,
luck.
yeah. At one point, that is how people look at him, and ultimately, the war is won, as we kind of figured it would be, and it leads to the forming of the United
neutral zone.
Federation of Planets and the neutral zone.
Right.
And it was kind of interesting to see how that came about, because, or how the Federation of Planets came about, because although initially, the coalition of planets, it was kind of, it was there to help each other, but it really, they were still looking out for number one, if that makes sense. They really weren't interested in helping other people with their problems. They were looking more for how other people can help them with their own problems. You know what I mean? So with the Romulan War, they realized that they can't go it alone. They're way too weak against a very hostile galaxy, and ultimately they come to realize, and in the last minute, they do come together, and they realize that they are stronger together than they are, trying to go their own way. And it was great seeing all of these different crews. There was Vulcans, and there was Andorians, and we got to see some Tellarites, and all these different species, and all these different perspectives, and how it all kind of just came together. And I thought that was really, really well done, and I enjoyed both books. I followed it up with the first two books of Rise of the Federation. And this is all takes place after the forming of the Federation, and in it, Mayweather, he ends up being Malcolm's first officer, and by this point, most of his bad luck has run out. So now he's actually kind of found his way, which I really enjoyed. And of course, the NX has been retired by this point, and T'Pol is captain of her own ship, and so everyone's kind of sort of moved on by this point, and they're trying to get more species in, but at the same time there's these different factions that are also kind of realizing, here's this organization, all these different planets, that because they come together, the only way that they're going to be able to compete and survive is if they too come together. So it's kind of interesting to see how the Orion Syndicate kind of comes to power, and some of the things that they're willing to do. I mean,
wow,
really, really good. I'm really enjoying them. I've also read one of the Titan books, the novella. That one was just freaking awesome.
Absent Enemies?
Yes. Yes.
You laughed all the way through it, didn't you?
Oh my God, I did.
John Jackson Miller, he did. He really knocked that one out of the park.
Yes, he did. And I mean, the species in it is interesting. What they have to do and go through is kind of interesting. I really, really enjoyed it. If you have not read it, check it out. And I now know what the moments that Terry enjoyed, and then I reminded her of another one that
she did.
made me laugh out loud. I woke up the house because I was laughing so hard.
It's fun.
It's just awesome.
I'm sorry, but there is nothing funnier than seeing. Seriously, there is nothing funnier than seeing Riker try to deal with the impossible diplomatic situation.
Yeah. It's the Kobayashi Maru of
It's like putting Worf
diplomacy.
in the middle of arguing Ferengi. It was hilarious.
I also read. Well, I've read a lot, as you can tell. I've also read the autobiography of James T. Kirk, and oh my gosh, we get a lot of insight into how he grew up, and there's some vague references to things that were kind of sort of established in the new Trek films, but it's still Prime Universe, so there's just differences, but you can kind of see where some of the parallels lie. And it was really interesting to see how he was brought up, what made him want to become a captain. I was amazed by Kodos the Executioner, what happened with that whole situation. And then what they end up doing is they pick select episodes of the original series, and they kind of spotlight, Kirk's thoughts or feelings or ramifications of certain episodes, which I thought was really well done. And of course, they make some new points. There's some new things that we haven't seen before, which I thought was also interesting, that kind of help move him forward into the films. And then we get to see, or we find out his thought processes, like when dealing with V'ger and going head to head with Khan again, and how his opinion of this man, how it kind of shaped his initial decisions in dealing with him, and to eventually become, and the consequences of the decisions. So, like I said, really well done. I really enjoyed that book. Check it out, David A. Goodman. And then finally, I am currently reading Seekers 3.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Holy crap, dude, that's amazing.
I've had a lot of downtime.
Nick is still laughing at shit in the chat room. Sorry.
You're gonna be that kind of party. I'm gonna stick my dick in the mashed potatoes.
So we do need to ask our guests what books they have read as well. So David and or Son, are you guys reading any books lately? What's up?
Well, I've actually been rereading one of my favorite books, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe.
The final 3 hours of the G&T marathon.
What?
Things
Nick's
fall
off on
apart.
his own. Yeah, I was gonna say
It makes sense.
Nick's all on his own. What's it about, my dear?
Well, it's about this tribal sort of it's an African tribe, and it deals with the intergovernance system of this tribe and local tribes around it, as Christianity is starting to move into the area and try to cleanse them of these pagan beliefs and stuff. And it follows one of the main characters of the story, and tragedy befalls him like any other thing, and he winds up being exiled for so long, and then when he comes back, everything is strange and different to him, and he literally winds up having to either learn everything all over again or take his own life.
Wow, that's uplifting. No, I mean, it's interesting, but holy crap, that's a serious damn book.
Yeah, it's a pretty serious book, but it's a page turner. Every time I pick it up, I can't stop reading it.
Wow, holy crap. David, you've got a couple under your belt. What's up?
I just, definitely wanted to start reading Trek again. It's been something that I would do off and on, and I knew there was a bunch of series good going on, and I can't. It's like, to me, there's too many that I want to read all at the same time. So. But then Seekers, I've missed 1, 2, 3, and now there's 4. So I'm gonna have to go back and get them as a collective. The last series that I actually read that I was able to get all of at the same time was the Cold Equations trilogy.
Yeah.
That was a while back. I just picked up all 3 books and went through them back to back to back. But I still wanted to read Trek, even though I'm figuring like I'm behind and out of the loop on some of them. I need to go, I can't find them in the store. So every so often I go to the Barnes and Nobles around here and I pick up, what's on the shelf, and I'll look at that. So I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit, but just going, more recently, because The Cold Equation I pretty much got right around when it came out. Most recently, even though it was kind of delayed, I think the book came out in 2013. But I read From History's Shadow by Dayton Ward. That was an awesome book.
Wasn't it fun?
I loved how it tied together the like UFO episodes from the original series, plus Carbon Creek and Little Green Men from DS9, like all the UFO conspiracy type episodes, but then also the real history of like Project Blue Book and Majestic 12, and then added in a whole nother brand new alien species. So it was just an awesome book. And of course, I did recognize the security officer, Nick Manetti, in that book.
Thank you.
And that was
with my partner, Pasquale, Poison Fox.
And the Avatar, Alan Scholl.
Yep. So that was a very cool book. I was happy to hear that pretty much as I was finishing it, Dayton had posted that he's in the works. It's going to happen, that there's going to be a sequel. He might have already been finished with it. I just remember him saying like the sequel is coming for From History's Shadow Part 2, and he's going to continue that on. So after I read that, I jumped into, and I was getting into the TOS. I've enjoy all the different Treks. And so I picked up another couple books, and since I was already like vibing on the TOS, I jumped to Savage Trade by Tony Daniel. That was I didn't know really what to expect when I went into it, but I ended up really, really liking it, and it was something that just like kind of like From History's Shadow. I didn't know going into it that it was going to be totally riffing off of and expanding on an actual episode. Like it bounces, if you guys, and it took me a little bit to catch on to it, but do you remember the original series episode, The Savage Curtain?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
The Savage Trade carries on with a lot of what went on in that, of course, with the Excalbians. There's a whole new alien pirate race. Both of them are dealing with each other, and then there's a big giant threat that in a way kind of reminded me of the Nothing from Neverending Story, but obviously different. But it was just very cool that they carried on from that episode, expanded it, made it way deeper. Like basically if you go watch the Savage Curtain episode, that's just the very, very, very tip of a very big iceberg with that race, the Excalbians. And so that was just a real fun book. I really liked it a lot. I recommend it, especially if you like books that tie into and carry on from actual episodes.
2 hours.
So from
sorry, David, but I had to say we're down to 2 hours.
Yep, countdowns definitely.
And David has been here the entire time, haven't you, David?
No, not from the beginning of like when you first started, but definitely like from to put it this way, from my end of it, you guys started at 9 a.m. Pacific. I think I joined in around like in the afternoon or the evening time, like maybe 6 or 7 p.m.
my time. You've been here a long time.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's been fun.
He's a trooper.
He's picked up the slack for us a few times.
There's no doubt
when
there.
we started to get punchy. Terry, was that you laughing at the bear one?
Yes. I'm sorry. I can't help it, but humor makes me laugh.
Do you hear him going, look at it?
Just look at my buttons. And that made me laugh.
I definitely wanted to join in, show support, and have some fun with you guys.
Oh, we loved having you here, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm just having such a good time, and I'm actually quite impressed with how semi-coherent I really am right now, which is.
Oh, I'm starting to get giggly.
I'm starting to get giggly, but I'm still coherent. I know when I see a funny.
You know what?
Butthole,
I think I need a Valium.
Uh-oh.
I'm fitting this whole pizza in my mouth.
I am not going to have troubles falling asleep.
It's a personal pizza if you try hard enough.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, like I said, I just cracked open after reading that book. I had a couple in the wings, and I'm like, I didn't flip a coin, but I'm like, which one do I want to go? So I chose to go with the Dayton Ward's Armageddon's Arrow. I just started that like yesterday or the day before. Cracked it open, but I already have a to-do list or in the queue type of thing. The book that I almost read, it was a toss-up between, was a DS9 novel, Sacraments of Fire by David R. George. Oh wait, I forgot. Right around the time I read From History's Shadow, I read a DS9 novel called The Missing. I was really happy with that one. It was nice to get into the DS9 series, even though a lot of it has changed.
Yeah.
I want to go back and start the whole DS9 relaunch from the beginning, but that's going to be a lot of collecting of books that are probably not available now, or ebook, or find them where you can.
Find them where you can, exactly.
So after Armageddon's Arrow, I'm going to jump onto Sacraments of Fire, DS9, and then just kind of rounding it out, I finally picked up in the collected graphic novel form, the Primate Directive, Star Trek and the Planet of the
Apes crossover.
Yep, from IDW.
How fun!
And then just as total jumping the different streams, I picked up the book, The Bounty Hunter Code Files from Boba Fett.
Very cool. Wow, dude.
And of course, every time I start reading a book, every time I finish a book, there's a little voice in the back of my head that says, "Hey, why don't you restart the 4-novel series by Keith DeCandido? Why don't you read IKS Gorkon again?" Because I've already read all 4 books 3 times through, and I go a while without, and I read other stuff, but then I'm always pulled back to it. That I love the Gorkon series by Keith, and I just say, I got a new book, I'll read the new book, and then I could go back to Gorkon later, and then, I got a new book, so I'm always bouncing around.
Very cool. Another reading crazy person.
And whoever said Klingons can't read.
No shit. I'll tell you. Mike, the
Uh-huh.
Alan's laughing at me now too. Okay, the last hour, the person who donated,
yes,
they also, I'm assuming, won that hour's prizes.
I would say so.
Okay, so that would be the Star Trek Next Generation Warped.
Oh, wait a minute, Alan's up?
Yeah, he just woke up, a little bit ago, about 15, 20
I just
minutes
caught
ago.
that you said that.
Yeah. And the Star Trek TOS 2016 wall calendar, as well as the posters, the Ships of the Line poster set. So congratulations. I think that was Robert.
Robert Reyes, yes.
So what are we going to get this next hour? We have another calendar, another poster set. We have a James T. autobiography of James T. Kirk, and we have one more Skella Trek in a hermetically sealed package.
How about if we do just one last really big push? Everything must go.
Okay. So what we have left is another poster set, the autobiography of James T. Kirk by David A. Goodman, a Star Trek 2016 daily calendar, and a Skella Trek. And the models,
Nick.
Correct? Mike, just ignore them. The models? Do we have models left?
We have the 3-in-1, which is the Ferengi Marauder, the Klingon Bird of Prey, and the Romulan Warbird. It's a 3-in-1 model kit, assembly required.
Cool. So that'll all go in the next hour to the person who donates the most. Click on the Support Us tab at the top of our website. And there's several ways for you to donate. So thank you so very much again to everybody who has already donated. And whoever donates the most through the entire 25-hour period will win the singular seat to the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas in 2016. It's a commander level seat. And it's pretty freaking amazing. They're all sold out. So the only place that you can really get them is through us, is through this. So again, it's like a $700 value, and
I think it's a fair number.
and includes all the parties and a reserved seat for the entire 5 days of the convention. And so you can actually get it for a deal if you donate to our cause. So thank you so very much. I want to remind everybody, all of our costs and everything that we're asking for on the money side here is merely just to keep our website and our show up and available for your listening pleasure. All of our archives, the server costs, the TeamSpeak, and our chat room servers, as well as all of our website servers on top of that. So just those costs alone, and also the design. I believe we included the redesign of our website into that. That's correct. The website graphics and the beautiful new looks that we received when we hired Thomas Maroney to do it for us. So thank you so very much, Thomas the Cat. You do amazing work, and I think it looks beautiful. But other than that, we don't ask for any money for our travel expenses or for our appearance at Star Trek Las Vegas. That comes out of our own pockets. And we don't ask for money to get us to conventions. If we have somebody available in the nearby area, like Jen Ucelis is going to do for us in Chicago, she'll be covering some of the Chicago conventions for us next year. We have the lovely Janice covering a lot of stuff on the Eastern Seaboard for us. And we cover what we can as close to home as we can. And there you go. So thanks again for your support and keeping us on the air and talking about Star Trek.
Terry, I found an awesome site that takes texts from last night and mashes them up with Star Trek images.
Oh, that's good. That's too wrong.
Yeah.
That's just too wrong. Mike, do we have a little Star Trek news?
Maybe
I should probably open those links.
Nick.
Yeah, I'm not going there.
Are we not doing Coffee Clutch first?
We've been doing 23 hours of Coffee Clutch.
It's all Coffee Clutch all the time.
Pretty much. Although I could use a break.
Yeah, I need a break as well.
You can hear it.
During the middle of the show?
I know, huh?
Is this going to be
I have a
general news?
2-hour bladder.
The show just started.
Stressed.
I hate you all.
We have 2 hours remaining. So if we take a break now, then we can run for the last 2 hours without having to
In theory.
Well, yes, in theory.
Now we all have to pee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly.
We must all tinkle.
So,
I have to tinkle.
This is what happens to the coffee that they've been digesting.
It's so true. It's so true.
And the water that Terry's been shotgunning.
Music for the GNT show is provided by 5 Year Mission, Enterprise Blues Band, Warp 11, Andrew Allen, and Greth Thor. The GNT show is a BLB production.
Move ahead, walk back to 10. Put a mini skirt on my yo man. Represent the human race. And we make space a happy place. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Gonna travel to new worlds. Beam on down and meet some green girls. Gonna see what we can see. A fancy-free galaxy. To boldly go where no man's gone before. I think I sang that line once before, but I'm not too sure. We'll be so happy, can't you see? A zero-G community. Come and take a tour with me. There'll be no cons or Kobayashi. Gonna travel to once before.